trending. All right, we'll continue with our coverage this morning. And another story that is really, of course, having a very big conversation online is the trial of the controversial miracle babies televangelist Gilbert Deya, which is set to continue today at the Milimani Law Courts with more witnesses set to testify. 25 witnesses are expected to take to the stand to witness against Deya. The preacher has been charged with 5 counts of stealing children below 14 years between 2002 and 2004 at the Mountain View Estate here in Nairobi. Let me now bring in Shadrach Meti. Before that, let's just listen to what went down yesterday.
The first day of the hearing of Bishop Gilbert Deya's case of child trafficking and theft almost failed to kick off. This was after prosecution lawyer Nicholas Motoko, in his initial submission, appealed to the Chief Magistrate Francis Andai to clarify some matters, including the format of hearing. The prosecution argued that by law, this case has a maximum of 120 days to be heard and determined, and as such, there was need to allow more time to consolidate the case. But defense lawyer Fred Ngatia opposed the application, terming it a ploy by the prosecution to continue locking up his client on flimsy grounds. Chief Magistrate Francis Andai termed the prosecution application as total mischief aimed at wasting time.
Amongst the arguments presented before you was that the prosecution was so ready to proceed with the trial and establish the guilt of the accused person, plus very many other arguments. But the constant plea before you was how ready they were to establish the guilt.
Christopher Barasa from the Civil Registry Department working in Bungoma South Sub-County was the first witness to take to the stand. He was required to inform the court on the happenings of November 2nd, 2004, then working as a senior clerical officer in the Birth and Death Registration Office in Amagoro. Central to his testimony was the incident in which officers from the Special Crimes Unit visited his office to investigate a matter in which some girl alleged to be Gilbert Deya's daughter had been registered in his office in Amagoro. But his testimony was challenged by the defense lawyer on grounds that the applicant was neither Deya nor his wife Mary.
But the documents I have here regarding the registration of that child, nowhere is there the name Florence Oshanda. Is that correct? Yes or no?
Police Inspector Gray Musoga was the second witness to take to the witness stand. He informed the court on how he and several other officers on August 19, 2004, raided Gilbert Deya's home in Mountain View Estate in Westlands and rescued 10 girls, 2 of whom were said to be Deya's, with the parentage of 8 others in question. The defense sought to establish the role of a man named Michael Odera, as his name was mentioned several times by the witness. The defense counsel told the court that the testimony by the witness was full of assumptions. The third witness could not take to the stand after the prosecution informed the court that he was not yet ready and that some important matters were to be sorted out before he appears on Tuesday, 2:30 p.m. when hearing resumes.
All right, let me now bring in my colleague Shadrach Meti joining us from the Milimani Law Courts. Shadrach, we understand that there are 25 witnesses. What kind of evidence are they giving so far?
Well, Betty, as you rightly mentioned, we are having 25 witnesses. So far, we are done with 2. And remember, out of the 25, 7 of them are said to be in the UK. And so they are yet to come to the country. But from the directive that was given by the Chief Magistrate Francis Andai yesterday, the prosecution was ordered to ensure that all the witnesses are readily available so as to ensure that the proceedings as they began yesterday go on without any interference or any impediments. Remember, these kind of proceedings, Betty, are informed by the decision that the accused, that is Gilbert Deya, was denied bail, and so from the position of the court, the proceedings have to go on daily basis to ensure that the case is expedited and determined so quickly so as to ensure that the rights of the accused are not infringed. And so from what we gathered yesterday, or from what we saw yesterday and the proceedings that were on, the evidence that was so produced in this court were, one, basing on the the registration of birth registration of the said children. Remember, we are talking of about 10 children whose parentage was never put clearly and was never determined. Remember, the case has been running on for nearly a decade, and so some of the key areas that the evidence shall be seeking to identify or to bring to the fore is the element of these children who are said to have been stolen or trafficked to different places of the world. The key issue shall be to identify them and clearly to bring out the real parents to the children. And remember, the strength in this evidence has to be who are the claimant and who are the complainant in all this. Because if we do not have the complainant and the claimant in all this, then the evidence may as well be declared very weak. And so that is the key area that the prosecution shall be seeking to address and to execute, even as it seeks to line up the 25 witnesses. And so far we are talking of 23, because yesterday 2 of them managed to stand to the evidence or witness stand, and so today we're expecting many more when the hearing resumes later at 2:30. We do not know exactly how many of the witnesses shall be standing for to give their testimony, but we know from 2:30 this afternoon the case shall resume and the hearing shall continue. Back to you, Betty.
Have any hint on really when this case will come to an end and when we'll know the actual truth of what happened?
Well, from the position of the court, or from what the High Court directed before the hearing began, remember this hearing was slated to take place on 9th and 16th of October. That means yesterday and a week later from today. But now, following the decision of the court not to grant the accused any bail, it was decided that the case has to continue on daily basis. So depending on how many witnesses the prosecution shall manage to present on the stand, it may take 2 days, 1 day, or 3 days, or even a week, just because everything is pegged on how many witnesses shall manage to stand on the witness stand on a daily basis, because that is where the expedition of the case shall stand. Because if so many witnesses manage to get to the stand, then it means even within 2 days the case shall be disposed of with. But if prosecution will not manage to bring as many witnesses to the stand as possible, it means the case shall drag on as far as it can get. But we are hoping that there shall be many witnesses as possible in any given time, so as to expedite the case insofar as the decision by the High Court